For a legendary creature card to become cEDH viable, it should either be a card drawing engine like Tymna the Weaver at a really low CMC cost, or something of a combo commander like Nylea. Nylea can combo off and gain infinite combat steps with a bunch of different one-card combos. And one more criteria I actually have is that once you have this card drawing effect or combo card in your command zone, the deck shouldn't be a bad deck. The commander shouldn't desire bad cards. And that is why I'm having Gissa and Geralf here as an example. So Gissa and Geralf are to be considered a card drawing effect because they will put cards into your graveyard and they can cast zombie creature cards from your graveyard. However, that would imply that you put together a really bad deck, a deck filled with bad zombie creature cards. And in the end, that wouldn't be a good deck. You want to have a deck that is filled with good cards, at least good cards. One more example I have is the Gitrog monster. The Gitrog monster is a 2-color commander for 5 mana, and he is both a card drawing effect as well as a combo piece in the command zone. So whenever a land is put into your graveyard from anywhere, the Gitrog monster will draw you a card. And with a Dakmor Salvage and a discard outlet, you will draw your entire deck. And that makes Gitrog monster both a card drawing engine as well as a combo piece in the command zone. Now let's just skim through a bunch of different commanders that also draw cards. So Tessica the Golden Fang, he will also draw cards, but he will also win the game and be a combo piece in the command zone if you have infinite mana. Yisan the Wandering Bard is drawing creature cards from your deck and putting them directly into play. That is at least a card drawing production. The same with Captain Ceesay. Crom is a good example of a commander that can team up with Tymna. Yeleva is also a card drawing effect. When you cast her, you will exile a bunch of instants and sorceries and other stuff from everyone's decks, and then when she attacks you can cast those. So that's definitely a card drawing effect. Rashmi will also draw a bunch of cards. Edric might have the highest card drawing potential inside the entire game. Alesha, who smiles at deaths, is a card drawing effect from reanimating stuff, and that is definitely a card drawing production. However, here I want to say that Alesha, who smiles at death, is only able to put together a semi-competitive deck because it will be filled with, let's call it, bad cards, and the combo she's attempting to put to play isn't great. It's kind of slow and it's something of a 3-card combo. Then we have some other new commanders that should be definitely viable. So this is Jeanette. She comes into play at a very expensive cost of 5, so that's a problem, but whenever she attacks, you will draw a card, and if you don't desire Sur the Enchanter or Necropotence, then maybe this is the thing to play. But also, you could cast a Vampiric Tutor and put whatever card on top of your deck, as long as it's odd, attack with Jeanette, and cast that card. And that would be kinda cool. Then we have this, Tuvasa the Sunlit. This is also a card drawing commander. The same with this thing. This is also a card drawing effect while you attack. Then we have this thing. This is a really low CMC cost commander in the command zone that will draw you cards, and that is good. As long as the commander is able to draw cards, they are playable. Now we have an example of a commander that is definitely terrible. Ludwig is a group hug commander, giving your opponents card draw. That is bad. That is definitely not something you want to do. So you want to stick away from commanders that is giving your opponents a group hug effect. There is an exception. Edric the Spy Master of Trest is probably going to be too fast for your opponents to catch up. So even if you're giving your opponents a little tiny bit of a card draw, you should win the game faster, in theory at least, than your opponents. And then Edric should be fine. Now let's look at a bunch of commanders that are combo pieces in the command zone, like Teferi, Temporal Archmage, and Estrid. Both of these commanders can combo off with the Chain Veil. But also we have Anima, Soul of the Elementals. He can reduce the casting cost of creature cards down to 0 if they are artifacts, and loop creature cards like Oblivion Sower and other stuff. That will win the game. There's a lot of stuff he can actually do, but in the end he would put together something of a semi-competitive deck as well, because he has a problem that everything he has is just creature cards, and that isn't always getting him all the way. Then we have General Tasri, who is, whenever you have infinite mana with your food chain, you will find your combo pieces with General Tasri by searching your library, putting those allies into play, and then looping Tasri over and over until all your opponents are dead. My last 2 examples are quite interesting and have a big plus on the upside. Here we have Breya and Maraf. So whenever you have infinite mana, you can kill all of your opponents with these 2 creature cards. So you cast one of these commanders, and then you kill them by activating their abilities. So in Breya's case, she sacrifices herself, deals damage to an opponent, and goes back to the command zone. And in Maraf's case, he removes all his +1/+1 counters, going down to a 0/0 and killing himself and dealing damage to an opponent. And then with your infinite mana, you just recast these commanders and repeat. So it's a big plus on the upside if your commander have an interaction, because these two creature cards can also deal damage and disrupt creature cards, other creature cards. They can remove stacks pieces, other stacks pieces that are a problem for them. And that gives these commanders a little bit of a plus on the upside. Let me show you guys two more legendary creature cards that will help explain the criterias. So here we have Olivia Voldaren and Memnok. So Olivia can for 2 mana deal 1 damage to a creature card, and she will grow and become big. She's definitely a win con in the command zone. She's not a combo piece, so she can't go infinite, but she can disrupt creature cards. She can eat Birds of Paradise, she can eat Laboratory Maniacs, and that should be good. That should do it, right? However, putting together a control Olivia Voldaren will only make your deck semi-competitive, because she isn't able to disrupt instant speed combos and other combos as well. She has a lot of problems in that area, but also she's on 2 color identities, and that is a problem. She doesn't cost that much mana, so she could be put together in a semi-competitive way, filled with a lot of mana rocks. You could go mana rock tribal and have Olivia Voldaren as your commander, but it will only make your deck semi-competitive. She's not a combo piece, and she has a very weak disruption. It is a disruption definitely, but it's not strong enough. Then we have Memnok. Memnok can win the game with infinite mana. You will make every permanent your opponent controls into an artifact, and then you will steal every permanent. And you will continuously do so with everything they put into play, so that should be the game. Definitely a win con, a combo piece in the command zone if you have infinite mana. But also, Memnok can steal artifacts, so that is also an interaction of some sort. However, he costs 7 mana. That's a lot of mana. It is quite tricky to run this creature card as your commander, because you will have a really expensive commander. It could be done, but I don't think it's great. He costs too much mana, and that is a very important criteria as well, that the commander you're playing should come into play at a low CMC cost. 3 mana cost for a commander is a great CMC cost. You put a mana dog into play turn 1, and then maybe cast your commander turn 2. So now we're going to a new area called Gameplan. You need to ask yourself after you theorize what your commander is going to do. So let's take Jeanette as a good example. She comes into play at 5 mana. That means you have to ramp her out quite early. That shouldn't be impossible. However, it's something to think about at least. 5 mana is quite a lot. After that, you want to attack with her, and then cast something of a Vampiric Tutor, Mystical Tutor or Enlightened Tutor, and put something really big and scary on top of your deck and cast that thing. And then you need to ask yourself, is this game plan any good? Because if it isn't, the commander isn't viable, or at least that game plan with that commander isn't viable. Let's take Maraf as another example and compare them to each other. So Maraf comes into play quite early, but once you have infinite mana, he will win the game. And how easy is it to get infinite mana? Well, not that hard. But one more thing to think about. What if the commander will never see action? What if their commander is constantly counterspelled? If Jeanette is constantly counterspelled, you will have a lot of expensive cards in your hand and in your deck that you can't cast. Because you can't cast your Brainstorm and put it on top of your deck and then attack with Jeanette, because Jeanette isn't in play. That means that you might run into a problem with Jeanette's game plan. However, in Maraf's case, hanging around in the command zone and achieving infinite mana, he will win the game from the command zone with the infinite mana. And that means that without your commander, Maraf still has a lot of things going for him. His deck could be really good. I want to emphasize that. If your game plan, if your commander is able to put together a good deck, the commander should be viable. If the commander is also a combo piece or a card drawing engine, then definitely you have something going for you. I want to mention something, however. Let's take Captain cEDH as a good example. Once, before Paradox Engine existed, Captain cEDH was something of a semi-competitive commander. She was a stacks commander, orientated around finding stacks pieces and putting them onto play and then slowly winning with something. But when Paradox Engine was printed, she turned into a competitive commander. And by that I mean that Gisse and Geralf and even Alesha could become something in the future. If Wizards would print zombie creature cards that were good, let's say zombie Staxy hate bears, blue and black hate bears zombies, then Gisse and Geralf might be good, might be playable. The same thing with Alesha, who smites at death. I don't know what she would need, I don't know what Wizards could potentially print, but in the end, if they print something that did the exact same thing for Captain Cisse with Paradox Engine, then suddenly Alesha, who smiles at death might be valid. Let's wrap this video up by looking at the romantic couple of Thrasius the Triton Hero and Tymna the Weaver. They are doing everything we've talked about in this video. So they come into play at a really low CMC cost. That is great. That means you can play on a lot of tempo. You could put Tymna into play on turn 2, or potentially put her into play on turn 3, having 2 mana dogs into play, attack with those, and potentially draw 2 cards. That is a great turn 3 play, or a good turn 2 play to cast this on turn 2. But also, they are giving you a lot of color identities, everything but red. That means that you can have access to a lot of different good cards from the MTG universe. But also, you could play whatever you want. They are not dictated to play a specific thing because they are only card drawing engines. But one more thing, once you have infinite mana, you will cast your commander Thrasius from the command zone and win the game with his activated ability. And that means that you don't need your commanders at all. You can have a really good deck that runs really smooth without them. But if you have the need of gas, you have great examples of 2 commanders that you could cast and just put into play and use as card drawing engines. And if whatever commander you decide to put together that can reassemble and mimic what they are doing, then you are definitely on the right track. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.